Hi all, this is Jugal. I have 7 years of experience as SQL Server and MySQL DBA. I am the founder of SQLDBA.com. I have often posted with a question that how to be a DBA, what are the roles and responsibilities of the DBA, what is DBA. So as a solution, I have prepared this presentation which will walk you through all these questions with their answers. We will first see what is DBA, then what are the different kind of DBA roles, then DBA responsibility and steps to be a DBA. First one, what is DBA? A database administrator is a person who is responsible for the design, implementation, maintenance, and repair of the database. The main goal of the DBA is to keep the database server up at all the time and make it available for the authenticated user. DBA makes sure that the database is protected at every time, and in case of any failure, data loss is very minimal. Now, who can be a DBA? I have been often posted with this question: how to be a DBA, what are their roles and responsibilities. I am going to explain you all this question in the presentation. To be a DBA, you must have basic knowledge of database and TSQL. Now we will see what are the different kind of DBA roles. First one is a system DBA. System DBAs are the DBAs whose primary skill is system administration. System DBA is responsible for the DBMS installation, operating system configuration, OS tuning, storage management, patching. Development DBA. Development DBA works on building queries, stored procedures that meets the business needs. It is a role like a SQL Server developer. Database architect. Database architect is responsible for design schemas, building tables, foreign keys, primary keys. They closely work with the business team and create a schema according as per the requirement. Again, this design schema is used by the developer and application DBA to implement the actual application. Data warehouse DBA. Data warehouse DBA is responsible for merging a data from multiple sources into a data warehouse. Data warehouse DBA mostly use DTS and SSIS package to migrate a data from one server to another server. OLAP DBA. OLAP DBA builds a multi-dimensional cubes for the decision support or OLAP system. Their primary language is MDX. Application DBA. Application DBA straddles the fence between the DBMS and the application software. They are responsible for ensuring that the application is fully optimized for the database and vice versa. Now we are going to next slide. Here I am going to explain each responsibilities of the DBA. First one is installation and configuration of SQL Server. Here you have to either install a standalone server or cluster SQL Server. Again, after the installation, you have to configure the SQL Server, for example, memory, CPU, affinity mask. These are all the kind of parameters a DBA has to configure. Now, second responsibility is upgradation of SQL Server from lower version to higher version. This could be a in-place upgrade or side-by-side upgrade. We are moving to a next responsibility: migration of SQL Server database from one server to another server. Next responsibility is applying patch and hotfix to SQL Server. Next responsibility is monitoring SQL Server health. You can use either a SQL Server DMV, system objects profiler, database tuning advisor to monitor the SQL Server health. Next responsibility is monitoring the operating system health. Here in this case, you can monitor the operating system health by using a performance monitor tool, by using a task manager. Next responsibility is troubleshooting the MS SQL database operating system related performance issue. Again, for example, in our industry, if we have multiple servers, we can monitor each server every time. So it is a good practice to set up alerts. We have to set up a SQL Server level, database level, and operating system alerts. We can use a database mail and alert functionality of the SQL Server, or either we can use a third-party alerting tool. DBA's next responsibility is capacity planning for the hardware requirement. You have to do a capacity plan for the CPU, memory, disk. Moving to next point: designing and implementing backup recovery strategies. As everyone is aware that there are three kinds of backup in SQL Server: full, differential, and transitional log backup. Full takes a complete backup of the database. Differential captures the changes after the last full backup, and transactional log backup is a incremental backup. Implementing HA solutions. As a DBA, we have to make the databases always protected and available. For that, we have to either use one of these techniques: replication, mirroring, clustering, and log shipping. Managing logins, users, and securities. DBA's next responsibility is establishing and enforcing standards. To improve the SQL Server performance, we have to implement the maintenance plan. We have to do a index defragmentation, statistics update, and we have to execute a DBCC commands. Next responsibility is TSQL tuning. We can do a TSQL tuning by using a SQL Server DMVs. Then we can use an execution plan. We can use a profiler. We can use a database tuning advisor. As a DBA, we have to schedule required jobs. DBA must be expert in troubleshooting the SQL Server and database issues. For example, if the user complains that he is unable to log into SQL Server, so either doing any case, we have to first check the error log and troubleshoot the error as per the error severity and state. Next responsibility of the DBA is documentation of any implementation and change. DBA must have expert level of knowledge in SQL Server architecture. We have to also coordinate with the third-party vendors for any product related issues. DBA must have idea of the ITIL standards. Operating system is a very good. If the DBA has a knowledge of operating system, it is a very good as a DBA. DBA must have knowledge of all the SQL Server versions and their newer features. DBA must be ready to work closely with SQL Server developers. Now we are moving to the next slide. Here I am going to explain how to be a DBA. If your aim is to become a database administrator, you need to understand the underlying concepts of the database and the responsibilities mentioned in the previous slide. Next one is a programming background is helpful. Any programming knowledge is highly recommended, but the knowledge of TSQL is must for DBA. You can get books, read magazines, or read different blogs to get the DBA related knowledge. You can also attend the SQL DBA courses. Next one is visit relevant sites, talk with real DBA, go for LinkedIn site and increase your network. Look for the opportunities to practice your DBA skills. Go for the Microsoft SQL Server certification. And last one is becoming DBA involves more than getting just a certification. It requires intensive study, constant learning, practice, and most importantly, the creation of opportunities for your work experience. Here I have given you a few points which you have to study to be a DBA. If you have any question, you can contact me on sqldbpool.com, or either you can send me an email at jugal.sa@sqldbpool.com. I wish you all the best in your DBA career. Thank you, Jugal sir.